Tokyo Expressway in the Group 4 cars with Picklesborough on pole. The Merc should get away well. Revs build then. Big long run down to turn 1 here, so getting a good start is pretty important. Everyone at the front gets away really well. Pickles gets away well, so does Terence, myself. Surfer and the Aston Martin a little bit further back. We've got the Dodge Viper, they get away well as well. James Harben now rocking a McLaren, so done a mid-season team swap there for the McLaren 650S. Looks like everyone's getting away well. Let's go and have a look at turn 1, which is bound to be chaotic. Terence in the lead. Let's actually just rewind this a second, just see what happened to Pickles. Yeah, the Mercs just absolutely swamped Pickles at the start. So it's Terence, myself, Pickles and Surfer. As we go down towards turn 1 for the first time of asking. Picking your braking point here is always difficult. As you can see, me, Terence and Surfer got that horribly wrong and went out wide. James Harben might look to get up the inside, but he got a little bit of a swapper on. There's an Aston Martin at the back. How's it come a cropper as well? Who is that? That's Ice Chan. What's happened to Ice Chan? So he was 7th. Just a little tap between him and James Harben at the apex there, and that's going to put him right down at the back. Has 91 battling with Gemini as well. C Trickle trying to get past the other Ben and Jerry sponsored VW, and just has to tuck in for the time being. ESR idling the other Jag, running 8th at the minute, with Infinity Decals just ahead in 7th. We've got Phil chasing down James Harben. But as we enter this section of the circuit, very hard to make a pass here. It's pretty much single file as Fat Picklesborough leads us through this for the first time. Myself in 2nd, with Terence in 3rd, Surfer 4th, James Harben 5th. Like I said, a lot of drivers will just be single filing. Most, if not all, overtakes you see in this video, other than this one right here. Has 91 using his power wiper blades to get his way through, will just happen towards the main straight or in the pits. Nice Chan then, already making moves back. He's already passed the 2 Toyotas. Did think about a look there on the Jag, but obviously he hasn't just backed out with that. So let's have a look now. The top guys are on the main straight. Slipstream is king. Fat Picklesborough isn't giving any of that away right now, and it's myself and Terence just having to slipstream each other down the straight. There is a no bump drafting rule in place, which means you can't just, as you saw James Harben actually poke out of the slipstream there, you can't sit there and just bump the other car along. You have to actually pull out the slipstream to make the overtake happen. As you can see, the Dodge Viper and Infinity Decals are doing so there. A little bit further up, Fat Pickle still leading away Terence, so slipstreaming his way past myself. It's probably the first race this season that I've got a chance to race with my teammate. Either he's been at the front and I've been near the back, or I've been at the front and he's been a couple of cars behind, and we've not always had the opportunity to fight away, so it's been good actually to do some laps with Terence. Infinity Decals tries to defend here to Phil. We enter this section of the circuit that is going to be tough to make a move on. A little bit further back, ESR Idle holding 8th at the minute, but Mutt 36 is looking to make that make a case for that. We see Mental might make a nice move down the inside. Ice Chand actually makes that happen as well. How's that one getting absolutely swamped here? What happened? Or was it Mutt? So let's have a look at Mutt. Let's go on chase. Let's do chase cam. Let's be a chase cam purist. So Mutt, you can hear there, has to back out because he didn't want to have to hit the car ahead. That gives us just left the door open that 2 cars filled. Yeah, and then you can see Gemini. There's a gap open there, so yeah, Gemini, clean move to be fair. Not an ideal place to make it, as you can see, because people start hitting the wall and then it just slows everyone else down, but if the move's available to make, it can be made. So I'm running in third. Surfer Rev goes for a move here, which at the time I wasn't really happy about because it dumped us out of the slipstream of Terrence, which, as you can see during the remainder of the race, actually does end up having an impact. But we were just battling to try and keep in Pickles' slipstream because, well, he's in the lead. Losing that slipstream as Terry is just out of it is going to negatively affect his race pace. And then you've just got me, Surfer and James Harbour, and we're just going to end up slipstreaming each other down the main straight. Nice story of the race, I'm afraid, this one. Infinity Decals and Phil doing the exact same thing. And the Viper just going to pull out there, is he? Is he actually catching the Porsche? I'm not sure he's actually catching the Porsche there. You've got two Jags. With Ice Chand, who's making a good recovery of this race. Does he go for the move down the inside of both? Oh, he just outbrakes himself. He has to go for that gap, yeah. This is the thing, like, you don't always notice this, but you're doing a good, like, 5-6 mile an hour faster than you normally would do when you're in the slipstream of these cars. And when it comes to the braking zone, yeah, he's late on the brakes there. And Fort's a good driving by Chand, actually. He, like, spots a gap and just sticks his car there. The alternative would have been take the car out or try and crash eloquently. Both of those options carry a lot of risk. The two VWs having a bit of a bad outing here, so Mutt 36 down to 13th and Has 91 in 14th. Not having a great outing so far, these guys. Let me just actually flick on the race data so you can see fuel and tyres. Now, this wasn't going to be a tyre limited race. The tyre deg is very low here, so no one really struggled with tyres, but fuel's the issue. So most, if not all, drivers are doing the best they can with fuel saving. Different cars have different abilities. The Merc's not great at it. It's a big thirsty beast. I know the Aston's pretty similar. It's just whether you can extract the most amount of time from your tank. As we see Surfer have another pop at me here. So we're going to be slipstreaming each other for a little bit. Infinity Decals has broke away from Phil a little bit. Mental Mike having to work with Ice Chand a little bit. I remember in comms these two were just trying to work together to catch the guys ahead. And then you've got an entourage of VWs and Toyotas near the back. Sorry, now is not probably the best time to do comms because I've just had food and I've got a little bit of reflux kicking in, but it is what it is. I'm trying to sneak this in before another commitment in about an hour's time. Don't hate. So the slipstream party in order again. You can see the Viper. Will he catch the Porsche this time? Go on, get him. Oh, Phil, that's naughty. I didn't think you were catching him. That's why I thought the Viper were topping out the Porsche, because the Porsche's got really good top end speed. It takes a little bit longer to get there, but once it gets there, its top end's pretty decent. So story at the top then. I mean, we're all starting to pull away a little bit. So Pickles is maintaining the gap to Terrence. I'm maintaining the gap to Terrence as well. I've got James and Surfer to worry about. Surfer smacks a wall. That's going to hinder him a little bit. Yeah, James wasn't really attacking me, so he was sort of aware that it was kind of pointless attacking in this middle section, and we just slipstreamed each other down the main straight, which in the end did sort of work out to be a decent strategy. Oh, Infinity Decals gets a wall slap. You can play along at home, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Every time I mention a car's hit the wall, have a shot, and if at the end of the 50 minutes you're not completely dead, consider it a success, because it's going to happen quite a lot. And every time I mention the word fuel, have a sip of beer, and then again, if you don't end up in ICU, consider it a grave success. Looks to be a lot of action happening at the bar. Let's jump on board with C-Trickle, our resident photographer expert. And now again, the 86, a great handling car, just has a bit of a pathetic engine when it comes to the straights, or so I'm told anyway. Oh, Oh, he just runs it a bit deep there. That's going to just knock his momentum going onto the main straight. Although he is going to be getting a little bit of assistance from the VWs. The VWs are good at initial acceleration. I'm not sure what their top end is like. This is a good train here. They're like 10th to... All these guys look side by side. It's like Noah's Ark. See, ESR Idle's in the pits already. He was on mediums to start with, so he will want to get rid of those. And we've got Mental Mike just ahead of the Aston Martin and the Porsche. Saying Porsche like that for anyone that may view from the US of A. Ice-Chan this time nice and tidy on the brakes as he gets that move made on the Jag. Really nice move there by Chand. These guys now need to really crack on with the task of catching the Viper up ahead. Surfer F, because of that wall tap, take a shot, fell away from the battle between me and James a little bit and just dropped him out of the slipstream. I am just out of Terrence's slipstream as well, so not going well for me so far, but alas, it is a long race. We can already see Pickles is doing a better job on fuel than the Mercs and the McLaren and the Aston Martin. So the reason why I mentioned the F word so much is it all accounts in your pit stop. So I think it takes about, I think you get about 7 litres per second, something like that in your fuel stop. I can't remember the exact figure, to be fair, but it's time. So if you don't have to put as much fuel in your pit stop, your net gain is going to be time. Goes a little bit deep there. That's going to give me the... Oh, actually, no, it looked to be a decent racer line because I don't remember hitting the wall on lap 5. Yeah, it's a net time game in your pit stop, so it's genuinely worth fuel saving if fuel is a factor for your race. So if you're going to have to refuel at any point, it's worth trying to save some because it'll net your time in the pit stops. A bit of a field recap, 10 minutes in. I'd estimate I'm probably going to heavily edit this video. We'll see. So as we start lap number 6, Fat Pickles Bro leads the way ahead of Terrence. Then it's myself and James Harmon slipstreaming each other down the main straight. Surf Rev is 5th, just out of our tow. Then it is Phil in 6th in the Viper with Ice Chand and Infinity Decals slipstreaming each other down the main straight. Mental Mike has just dropped away from that just a tad. Marshall doing a good job in the Toyota, actually P10 in the Toyota. 160 going up the hill, so yeah, he's a few miles an hour down on what we were doing at the top, so we're in the power cars at the top really. So what's he doing when he brakes? It maxes out at once, so we're getting 166, 167 down there at some days. Then you got Gemini in the Viper, that should be alright in a straight line. Then you got Mutz and Hazat, who on the 2 VWs, seemingly struggling with this. They are on mediums though, so we'll note that for future reference. The reason they might be struggling is because they are on the slow tyre. C-Trickle also on the slow tyre, and ESR Idle, who pitted to get rid of his mediums, is last, but the race should come to him now because he's got nothing but soft tyres to take. Alright then, so 12 minutes done. Let's see what happens. So we're on to lap number 9. A number of cars have pitted. Not a lot of us are running at the top though. So we have been frantically fuel saving. As you can see, Pickles has probably done the best out of all of us, but that's relatively predictable. So a lot of cars came in towards the end of lap 8. My strategy was towards the end of lap 9, which is where we are now. So the top 4 done a relatively good job on fuel. Phil's done a very good job on fuel. That Viper is a fuel saving machine. Both him and Gemini did excellent jobs on saving the fuel there. C-Trickle's on the medium, so he'll be coming in now to do some soft stints. The 2 VWs will want to get off that slow tyre. So these could be a bit of a force in the closing stages of the race because they've just got fast tyres to take now. But they've took these mediums 20 minutes, so fair play to them, to be fair. Infinity Decals has pitted, so has Surf Rev, so has ESR Idle, as we know already. Mental Mike and Ice Chand have already pitted, and so has Marshall. So The rest of us should pile in now. This should give us a good picture of how the mid-stint will go. A lot of drivers did the same sort of thing, so I was doing 9 laps on soft, and then I think I was going to do 5 laps on medium, or 6 laps on medium, one or the other, and then another 9 on the soft side, just because of how fuel limited you are. So we're all in. You see Pickles comes in with 10%, me on 5, Terry on 1. James actually runs out on the way into the pit box, so we couldn't have timed that any better, to be fair. And Phil and Gemini are going to carry on for another lap. They're going to go in for their 10th lap on the same amount of fuel, an almost unprecedented level of fuel saving by these boys. Sea Trickle's going to come in. Everyone will just pile in now if they haven't been already, and everyone else carries on. So let's see how this piles everyone out then. So Phil takes the race lead, although we know he is going to have to pit sometime soon. Pickles and myself come out pretty much with the exact same amount of fuel and medium tyres. Gemini's on softs and fuel saving, so I wasn't worried at this point, because I knew he was really going hard on the fuel saving. Terry's gone full tank on medium, so he's probably looking to stretch this medium stint a little bit. Or at least give himself the option to do that, which is a decent strategy, to be fair, because anything can happen. You want to make sure you pit at the right time. Infinity Decals is doing his usual just quali laps, so he's not put much fuel in, and he'll just run the bare minimum on mediums and go ham for the rest of it. SimFx come back out on the softs, so I'm guessing he's still got the mediums to run, hasn't he? James on softs as well. Yeah, so we've got a few mixed strategies going on, a little bit of racing still cracking off, but as you can see, there is a bit of field spread in the field now, as the 2 VWs line up 14th and 15th. They're both stone dead last, but importantly, they've only got the fast tyre to take now, so they should be very quick. So Pickles are carrying an awful lot of speed. Myself, a couple of seconds behind. Nowhere near Slipstream range, of course. And then Terry, because he's took a bit more fuel on, so the punishment for giving himself the option to go long was that it dropped him out of my tow. But that could always come back to him later on. Just depends what he does with his strategy. It's not doom and gloom. Infinity Decals giving Surfer a little bit of a tow. So if we jump on board the Aston Martin, you'll see just how powerful that Slipstream is. It literally is like a vortex. Porsche actually directs him round that way. So the Porsche will tuck itself back in the Slipstream, and we'll probably go straight back out past the Aston Martin. Indeed, that's what it's doing. There we go, that's Slipstream on GT Sport at Tokyo. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But Surfer does a good job of getting on the brakes there. Infinity Decals goes a little bit deep. Surfer with the tighter line is able just to get on the throttle a little bit earlier. With the inside line, I'd say he's got the Infinity Decals. Looks like he's just letting him have that, I think. Yeah, no harm, no foul. James Harben then dropped back out with the tow a little bit. The new McLaren team looks like they prefer their car. So they were in the Subaru. It looks like they do have a distinct preference for McLaren moving forward. So the Viper Snipers are out again. So they're now running the mediums, and they're on relatively shorter stints. So they'll probably look to do about 4 or 5 laps on these tyres. ASI just slaps them all. He's gone quite a while on those softs now. How many laps? So this is his 6th lap on those tyres. So he won't be far away from another pit stop. Ice Chan, Mental Mike, Gemini, Marshall, Sea Trickle, and then the 2 VWs, who will really want to be getting the hammer down now. But for the time being, Pickles still leads. And we're there or thereabouts, halfway point of the race. as we start lap number 15 and what is well into the second half of the race. We'll give you a little bit of a recap of where everyone is and have a look. So we've got Picklesbro on the medium tyre. He will be pitting in the next lap or so to take the soft to the end. Same for myself and the same for Terence. Surfer we still think has to run that medium tyre, so that may affect his speed a little bit in the latter stage. James Harben, I'm pretty sure he's still got to run the medium as well. I might be wrong, I might have missed it, God knows. He's in 5th. Then we've got Mental Mike, Phil and Marshall. No, Ice Chand. All battling for this. So Mental Mike gets that move made. Ice Chand in the Aston trying to defend to the Dodge. Right, so it's 2 Brits versus 1 American thick boy. For the time being, the Brits are succeeding in keeping the American lump behind them. Then we have Marshall. He's in 9th with Infinity Decals 10th. He's doing his normal quali lap strat. C-Trickle 11th. The 2 VWs have really struggled. They've only got ahead of ESR Idle based on the fact that Idle pitted again because he was running the mediums at the start. We have lost Gemini, so the other half of Team Viper Sniper did leave the race, but that wasn't anything other than a network issue. His network disconnected him, which is quite disappointing. So he wasn't able to complete the race, unfortunately. But his teammate is very much still in the hunt. Someone else that's in the hunt is Surfer right on the back of Terence now, looking to get some slipstream action done down the main straight here at Tokyo. Do we see any pitters? So yeah, we're going to see some pit stops now. So Pickles will come in, 9% of fuel for him. I don't think I'll have that much when I come in. 5 for me. Terence is also going to pit. Now he's done he put more fuel in first time round, so he's not going to have to spend as long stationary. And watch what that does to him as James Harben carries on his race. We've got Mental Mike and Ice Chan coming down the main straight as well. Phil comes in. Now Fat Picklesbro is out of the pits. He's back out in 5th place, and you can see how close Terence is to me now. Now that we're both going to the end now. Of course we've got to make this fuel last, and we're about on the limits of our fuel capabilities here, but I was actually really happy that I came out with my teammate because we can at least work together. There wasn't any ego in this race. There wasn't I deserve to be there or do this, do that. It was purely just I've messed up that corner, you go through, you're quicker. It was a really good race, to be fair. You know, especially given that we'd not really had the opportunity to race together that much this season. So yeah, I did enjoy this, especially this part of the race. It was really good because I was really the second soft tyre I took on did not have the same grip as the first. It took some getting used to, so I'm going to be slapping those walls for the first lap or two. And yes, if you're still playing the drink along game, that means another shot of the finest spirit for you. And a few strategies still have to play out. So for one, Marshall's low fuel now, so he's going to have to pit again soon. Most people now, though, especially those with full tanks of fuel, will be going to the end, but there are a lot of drivers that won't be, so we think Phil will go to the end now. Surfer Ev, who took the net lead of the race, will peel off into the pits. James Harben's got enough fuel to carry on, so he'll probably carry on. Yeah, might as well. So yeah, once the Aston goes in, the McLaren will take the lead of the race. And I'd expect Mental Mike and Ice Chand both in the pits this lap as well. So where they come out will very much dictate how that midfield race is going to go. Fat Pickles, quite a lead. He'd established at this point. He'd done a really good job on fuel saving. He didn't have to put as much fuel in as well at the second stop. So again, that saved him time. And you can see the gap between him and the next car, which is me and Terence, as we're slipstreaming each other, as you can see, going down the main straight. Coming out just ahead of Surfer Ev, so crucially I guess because that Aston Martin's a beast, kind of important not to give that car the slipstream, because if we had, that would have put an Aston Martin in the middle of this little battle, and we didn't really want that. Terence takes a very narrow line there, thinking I was there, but continues on. So yeah, Terence ahead of me for the time being. Surfer then out in 5th on the medium tyre then. So yeah, he will struggle to catch us on that tyre. Infinity Decals will have to pit again, so will Sea Trickle, so will Mutt, so will Has 91. Oh, nice little what's going on back here. So we've got there's like 5 cars involved in this. We've got Mental Mike, Ice Chand, Idle, Phil. I'm guessing that Jaguar there's just come out the pits. Yes, it has, so that's why it was so slow. Ice Chan not able to take advantage of the slow Jag, but Phil gets himself up to 10th in the Viper. And like I said, this is the start of the twisty section of the circuit, which, if I'm being brutally honest, as Idle gets a little bit of a nudge of the wall there. Yeah, it's kind of not overtakeable once you get past like this next corner. There's enough space to do it on track, but you go in at that high speed with that little sort of, yeah, it was Idle. There's that little margin for error that it's kind of suicide going from moves around this part of the circuit, to be fair. It is only going to end one way. So James Harbin, who can clip this bit, get ready James, because I'm about to say you're in the lead of the race. Ready? Next cut. So James Harbin leading the race then, lap 17. For Team McLaren, followed by Fat Pickles Bro in the Porsche. Quite a gap between those 2 cars. There we go, James, you can clip that bit. Nice one. So yeah, James going to have to pit probably this lap. Not sure how much fuel's going to have to take. He will probably come out probably in this lot, to be fair, with Surf and Infinity Decals. We'll see what happens. I think me and Terry did a good enough job on fuel early on to give us that barrier. We'll see when he pits. So he's carrying on. He's going to go another lap. Fair play. So James Harbin still leads the race. That little switch you saw there is just because me and Terry are doing our usual you slipstream me, I slipstream you, you slipstream me, I slipstream you. We kind of got caught in an impasse here because we're both doing exactly the same speed, so side by side we remain. Surfer behind, he's doing decent enough times, but like I said, with him being out the tow, and especially because me and Terry were in the tow with each other, we were just pulling that gap, so that did definitely help us during this race. There's no denying that. So 2 VWs, what's going to happen to these guys when they come into the pits? So they'll come in the pits with Sea Trickle. They probably won't have to put as much fuel in as Sea Trickle. Oh, Mental Mike again. He loves a battle, does Mental Mike. Right, what's happening here? So we've got Phil. Mental Mike, and ESR Idle. The Jags have got ridiculous top speed. So they're doing 167. Idle's doing that without slipstream. Slowing down a little bit because we're going uphill now. Phil's car kind of tops out about this speed, so there's not much he can do here, but he can get really good on the brakes. So there's a gap. Does Phil put his car there? No, he doesn't. Mental Mike gets a nice line into that corner. Mental Mike. Phil's going to try and follow him through. ESR Idle though just tidy enough on the throttle to evade the attention of the Viper initially. And the Viper is going to have to tuck in for another lap. That was really good driving by the 2 Jaguar boys, both really tidy on the brakes and exit respectively. So they've defended that position for at least the time being. And it's getting fuel critical for these other boys now. So the top 5 going to the end of the race. Sorry, not going to the end. James Harbin's not going to the end of the race. So once he comes out, will kind of dictate how his race is going to go. But he's been doing really good lap times, so you know 206s, 207s is pretty good with no slipstream. So that will stand him in good stead, doing same sort of times as the race leader, put it that way. So you know the the net race leader in Fat Pickles. Me and Terry were a bit of Slipstream, knocking in pretty consistent mid 206s most laps. I'm pretty happy with the consistency. So yeah, James, did he run out of fuel again? Yeah, he did. So he's timed both his pit stops to perfection, where he's run out of fuel on the entry road. That's the accuracy there, really, by the McLaren team. They just need to just to put another little splash of fuel in there just to get him actually into the pit box without him to coast it. Because James has delayed it, he doesn't have to put as much fuel in, so he's got him with 70%. He's on the medium tyre. Now will he get caught by the Aston Martin as the Porsche of Infinity Decals? Yeah, he's going to get caught easily by SimFx, whose relative speed at over 160 miles an hour, so the McLaren's like 110 at that point. Just means he can swoop past it, dual carriageway speed. So 10 minutes remain of this race, about another 5 laps, thereabouts. 4 or 5 laps, and to give you a bit of a race rundown, it's Fat Picklesboro leading the way. Predictably, get used to me saying that on this channel. Man's an alien. And then you got myself in second, slowly losing the attention of Terry. Now, I think from memory there was a little bit of a wall slap from Terry, and he just dropped out of Slipstream, and that obviously is not good when it comes to you know, trying to keep in pace with the car ahead. So that's Terry third, Surfer fourth. He's going to have a very fast McLaren to contend with in the closing stages though, so we'll see what James can do with this from now. But the Aston is a fast car. The two VWs, these are going to be a talking point. So where do these guys come out? They will pit this lap. They don't have to put much fuel in. They'll probably take an extra. They'll probably take some tyres. I reckon Mental Mike and Phil will get away ahead of them, but they'll probably come out around like Infinity Decals area, so they might even have some clear air. We'll see. Mental Mike and Phil have been glued together for pretty much the entire race. These guys will be very familiar with the rear of each other's cars. Yeah, that's the setup for the last 10 minutes anyway. So out the VWs come. I believe it's about the last car to make a pit stop. We've got some very fast cars approaching. We've got Marshall and Idle. We both sweep past the first car of Mutt 30. Sorry, of Has91. Mutt is still going relatively a little bit slow, but we are approaching the braking zone, so this is going to be very close between these three. We've got Idle, who's going to have to go around the outside to get this move made. Mutt does defend that from the inside. Then you've got Marshall trying to get the cutback on all of them. Just hasn't got the initial acceleration in that Toyota to take advantage of that good move. And Mutt stays P10 basically through good driving in the first corner. But yes, our Idle's going to want to get that place. We'll keep a little bit of an eye on this. Let's just jump on board with Marshall, because he gets a good view of this. He's got Has91 not far behind him. Now it's key to remember the VW boys will have fresh tyres on their cars and all the grip in the world. They may have put enough fuel in there as well, so they don't have to worry about fuel saving. The SR Idle just gives the wall a bit of a slap there. Marshall hasn't got the opportunity to get past, so just tucks back in. Hits the wall himself, unfortunately. That's going to give the Jaguar the opportunity to escape, and Has91 the opportunity to overtake in the middle side. That was a clean overtake by Has91. If the car's hit the wall, it's really slow, then yeah, overtake's feasible there, but at normal racing speed between two cars, it's just a bit of a silly one if it does happen. In terms of order at the top then, yeah, we've got everyone out now that has done all their stops. We'll stay with it until the end. We've got about 5-6 minutes remaining, so a handful of laps. So as we start this, we've got Fat Picklesboro about 8 seconds in the lead. The gap to myself is about 8 seconds, and I've got a couple of seconds over Terry. Terry's got a couple of seconds over Surfer, and Surfer's got a couple of seconds over James. James recently pitted, but he is on medium tyres. So without having a tyre advantage over the car ahead, it might be a bit of a difficult ask. Mental Mike's still got a Dodge Viper all over his backside. The Dodge has been pretty much present in the Jaguars' lives for the entirety of the race. And he's got another 5 minutes or so to try and shake the attentions of it. Ice Chand, after an eventful start to the race, running 8th at the minute for the Aston Martin driver on the medium tyre. And Infinity Decals, who's on the softs and loves a quali lap strat. Could potentially catch him, but Ice Chand is in an Aston and it is able to hold its own around it. Mutt 36, after getting past Idle, has maintained that spot. Has 91 is trying to keep the spot ahead of Marshall. Marshall is trying to get that 12th place back, and Sea Trickle isn't too far behind that battle. So these Toyotas pitted recently. Specifically Sea Trickle, I think, who pitted the lap before, so fresh tyres for Sea Trickle. Fresh tyres for the VW boys as well, so anything could happen in this this fight from 10th to 15th. There are any myriad of possibilities as we see the Jag on the main straight for the 21st time of asking this evening. Coming a little bit further up, Pickles just put the fastest lap of the race in a 2:05.7. Myself, I think my fastest at the time was like a low 2:06. It wasn't a blisterer, but then again I was at no point ragging the nuts off it, so I was quite happy with that. Setting purple sectors though, so yeah, it'll do. Terry also sets purple sector, so the Merc obviously proving to be one of the strongest straight line cars. Doing with this little fight? No, there's space between them all, so they're just cancelling each other out at this stage. Mental Mike's pulled a little bit more of a gap over Phil. He was nearly a second faster that lap round, was Mental Mike. So obviously the Vipers have to do a little bit of fuel saving still. Oh, he hits the wall there as well, that's not going to help his cause. And that might just give Mental Mike the opportunity to scarper away into the distance. Of us on about a quarter of a tank, there or thereabouts. So with 3 minutes remaining, we're probably about to enter the penultimate lap, so we'll probably get 24 laps out of this one. So another 2. So we shall obviously see. For us at the top of doing 206s, 207s, yeah, we should be seeing 24 laps in total. Oh, mind you, we might get across with time to spare to do 20. Oh, we'll see. I remember that's why I did the extra lap on the mediums, because I wasn't sure. So I actually went a lap longer on mediums than I kind of had to. Pickles obviously picked the same strategy, just because we didn't have the fuel to go the full distance if it went extra laps. So just wanted to give ourselves the reassurance that we could actually make it across the line. So yeah, 2 minutes remaining then. So it's gonna be last lap for a lot of these cars. So probably the top 5. Maybe we'll make it across the line in time to start another one. Again, we will see. Doesn't look like there's any threat of the order changing up here. It's pretty much going to be business as usual for us guys. We've just got to really keep it out the wall, stop from getting ourselves in a bit of a mess. We do all have the fuel to make it for another lap should we need to. Mental Mike continued to pull out the gap from the Viper. Let's have a check on that VW fight. That is heating up a little bit more now. Darren Baldwin's becoming unravelled in a VW ice cream sandwich right now. say ice cream sandwich because the Ben and Jerry sponsorship on the VWs, if that wasn't obvious enough, but there we go. The Toyotas unfortunately do look to be just out of that fight. This Has91 went for a look there on the Jag, nothing doing though. No room at the end through this part of the course, and the Jag is able to keep its 11th place for the time being. But the VWs certainly do have good pace. So the leader's coming across the start-finish line now. So yeah, we're going to get another lap in. So is Surfer Ev. James should make it as well. But the gap between James and Mental Mike, as you can see, Mental Mike now, we've passed the 50-minute mark, so it is this is it for these guys. So Mental Mike finishes in 6th, Phil in 7th, Ice Chand is going to finish in 8th position, Infinity Decals in 9th, and we might well come back and review the Idle v Has91 thing in just a moment, but let's actually watch these guys as they cross the line. It's the nice thing to do. So Ice Chand, 8th place for him. Infinity Decals loves a handbrake across the line, doesn't disappoint, 9th place for him. Mutt in 10th. Let's go and have a look at this then. So this is Has91 with his power wipers going. Yeah, so he's getting good slipstream here on the Jag. Now the Jag has really good top end speed, so it's going to be close between these two. ESR Idle for the time being does just have it by a hair. After 50 minutes of racing, ESR Idle and Has91 separated by what must have been a couple of thousandths of a second. Marshall and Sea Trickle across the line too. I'm sure that was for a photo op. Yeah, Marshall just lifts off the throttle. He's like, oh come on, we'll do the old Ford v Ferrari 1966 and just cross the line together. So there they are, Marshall and Sea Trickle, 13th and 14th. Well done, boys. And yeah, I'll be honest, there's nothing exciting happening in the top 5. We've all got sort of gaps between us all, and the last lap was very much just a procession for the top 5. But we'll watch it because, you know, we're a thorough channel, and we like to go deep on the topics that matter to us. Right, so around the final corner, I don't know what I'm even talking about. So around the final corner goes Fat Pickles Bro. An absolute great performance from the Porsche driver. Start to finish has been exemplary. We do take the mick out of him a little bit for being a bit of an alien, but you've also got to be able to pull off the strategies that what can be a bit of a poor track to race on, and he certainly did that. So he is going to bring home win number 759th of this season. That's definitely how it feels. So that's Fat Pickles Bro, sideways across the line. Expensive repair job for the Porsche team there. Myself second, I'm quite happy with that, to be fair. So P2, I'll take it. Terry in 3rd place, so good points for Team Mercedes. We'll see how they shape up in just a second. Surfer Ev 4th for him, and then last to finish is James Harben in 5th.
Tell me you're broadcasting your voice in my part.
Well, the surfer says that's quackers. So let's have a look at the race results then in final. So Fat Pickles Bro with the clean sweep. Got the fastest lap, got a pole position and the race win as well. So it's going to stand him in good stead for the Drivers' Championship that we'll have a look in a moment. Obviously with James taking a new manufacturer, that'll affect his standings as well. So here we are with the standings. Fat Pickles Bro on 117. Me on 95. Phil moves to 3rd with 68 points. Terence 57, and you can see other points there. Yeah, the McLaren boys took a beating with their manufacturer change. Manufacturer standings. Porsche are going to keep a sizable lead, 171 points, as opposed to Mercedes 152. It's going to be hard to keep in touch with them. but we're going to try. Tune in next time for Dragon Trail Reverse back in the GT3 cars, and thank you very much for watching.